Okay, good afternoon, everybody. Magic Online maintenance is over, and we do have some time to play some Magic today after doing some Dark Souls this morning. Got the Atraxa deck also looking where I like it, I think. So, a lot of hype about this card lately. Atraxa Grand Unifier, and after some analysis recently, I think I and most of the people have kind of come to the conclusion that Atraxa is a better creature to cheat into play with Goryo's Vengeance than Griselbrand. This is kind of an old shell that we had, pioneered back in the day. The idea that you are going to be able to Goryo's Vengeance your Griselbrand, attack, draw 14 cards, and Ephemerate your Griselbrand to keep it in play. But Atraxa does a really, really similar thing where you get to look at 10 cards when you Goryo's Vengeance, Atraxa, ETB, get an Ephemerate, or look for an Ephemerate, Ephemerate it again, draw a million cards. When you Atraxa ETB and then Atraxa Ephemerate, you can have very easily a Solitude and a Grief, or 2 Griefs or 2 Solitudes, plus 2 cards to pitch as well. And this all happens while not costing you any life at all, which is actually kind of nice. And Atraxa, of course, very relevantly pitches to Solitude and Grief and Force of Negation, while Griselbrand only pitches to Grief, which is kind of interesting as well. And also to a more what's the way to put this? Just being able to play Atraxa and Griselbrand, having 6 really good things to cheat into play instead of having to play Jin Gitaxis or Obsidat, which is stuff we've done in the past, is also really nice to have some redundancy here, because you can't tutor Atraxa in the graveyard with Unmarked Grave, and you can't persist it either. So Atraxa is the new hype. Yeah, so Atraxa is very, very hyped. I will say this. Of all of Magic's formats, I think Atraxa will be the least impactful in Modern. Time will tell. I have a couple of other ideas for Atraxa. This is the most obvious. I've seen Mingu play Atraxa in Creativity, and I think I agree with his conclusion that Atraxa is mostly worse than Archon in that deck. The fact that hitting multiple copies of Atraxa is kind of medium when multiple Archons is your main plan as Creativity is makes me think that you want to play Archon instead of Atraxa there. Because I think that Archon is still better than Atraxa in Creativity, although you could play one in Creativity pretty easily. Because of that, this is really the main shell you're going to see Atraxa in. There's a couple other spots you can cast it, but it's going to be much less impactful, I think, than Pioneer, where now there's a really good creature to cheat into play in Pioneer, and this card is really good in Legacy Reanimator, and it's interesting in Vintage, and it's an EDH staple. People are just hard casting this in Standard, so it's I think it'll be the least impactful here, but I think it's still a very, very exciting upgrade. Another thing too is in this deck, this deck's biggest problem has never been winning when you reanimate a Griselbrand. This deck's biggest problem is, of course, still fighting through answers. And I will say that, Grief, Solitude, Leyline Binding, Force of Negation, Teferi, Prismatic Ending, Silence, they all do help you answer hate cards. We do have, one really cool techie card, Not of This World, which is a tribal, even though Atraxa doesn't say tribal here on the card. We can get into that later. It can choose Not of This World as its own card type tribal, and have this be a 0 mana protection spell for either Atraxa or Griselbrand, which is I think worth exactly 1 copy. Atraxa seems so bad. Why not just get Griselbrand back? Atraxa is better than Griselbrand. Atraxa will draw you 4 cards on average, but in this deck that's using the Ephemerates, using the flicker effects, in my opinion, Atraxa is much better than okay, much better is a bit much, but better. 0 mana draw 4 or 5 is better than pay 7 life draw 7. And does Vigilance too. Vigilance is a really big deal. And it's also easier to hardcast, which is, not the biggest deal for sure. So we're up against Yawgmoth. Let's go ahead and just Grief. Turn 1 here. I'm going to take that Endurance. They always have the 1 of Endurance against me. Esper's doing some construction downstairs. Hopefully, if the drilling's too distracting, let me know. I think it'll be fine. Yeah, Atraxa also pitching to Solitude and Force is super relevant. You can also pay 14 life for 14 cards. Literally, what are you going to do with 14 cards that you're not going to do with 10? Because the whole plan with Griselbrand, you attack, you Ephemerate, you draw 14, sure. Atraxa plus Ephemerate is like 10 cards and 0 life. That being said, we're probably going to Griselbrand first today. Could have maybe main phase this, looking for another Grief potentially, because they do have one unknown card. Did they top deck a Yawgmoth? That'd be pretty bad. I think Atraxa is better than Griselbrand in Legacy as well. You know, in Legacy, the quantity of cards matters a lot more than in Modern, right? Where in Legacy you have access to Lotus Petal and Dark Ritual and ways to like really turn 14 cards into like immediate impact. So I'm not sure that it's going to be as impactful as Griselbrand in Legacy, but it could be a conversation. You know, Atraxa will still find you like Lotus Petal, Dark Ritual, Reanimate. You know, there's still a lot, but also like Legacy, I think you're less incentivized to. No. Oh my gosh, sorry. As soon as I click the swamp, I realized I can't cast my Faithful Mending. This is a huge punt. Disaster mode, absolute embarrassment. Sorry, chat. I don't know why. I was just thinking I have all my colors. So I'm playing these Triomes. I'm playing these Triomes so that I can cast both Mending and Indulgence. Oh my gosh. Like as soon as I clicked it, I like got stunned. Thankfully, my opponent's like hand has been kind of bad so far. We'll see if they have stuff. Okay, no stuff so far. I have a lot of good draws here. They have no cards in their hand. I'm sorry, chat. What can I say? Alright, Grief's not doing very much. He may be... I mean, we can just go to discard hand size next turn, I suppose. Mending and Indulgence. Yeah, I mean, the fact... So, okay, I know. So, when I say Mending and Indulgence, what I mean is that if you go Esper Triome, in order to have all of your Triomes cast Mending and Indulgence, you have to play Esper Triome, Temur Triome. Okay, that's not so bad. You have to play Esper Triome, Temur Triome if you want all of them to cast Mending, and I think you really don't want to have to play Temur Triome in the shell, if that makes sense. Thoughts on Touch the Spirit Realm? I think it's a little underwhelming. You could play one, but I think that I would prefer not to. So instead of playing Esper Triome, Temur Triome, I'm playing Raugrin Triome, Abzan Triome. And so each Triome taps for 2 of your main colors instead of 1 tapping for 3 and 1 of them tapping for none. Be very funny to win this game despite that egregious misclick. Imagine we're getting a chump block here. Nice to find a Leyline Binding for the Grist. Nice to find a Solitude. There's a Solitude. Opponent does have a card in their hand. Let's go ahead and just take a peek here. I'm never gonna Ephemerate to save this Grief, though. Let's go to 7, I think. They have 1, 2, 3, 4 for the Grist Ultimate. That makes no sense to me. Shouldn't they be shocks if you're not tapping for the 3rd color? Where would domain deck? They need to be Triomes. I'm so confused. I'm confused. We're all confused. All right, let's just Ephemerate and pass go discard. We have the Shocklands, but they're Triomes because we were playing, 8 domain cards. How do you decide which Triumph coming to get domain? It just depends on the deck. I don't have like a hard heuristic, I suppose. Because I could have drawn 7 and maybe would have found Not of This World, which would have been a slightly better answer here. The fact that we have Solitude up for Yawgmoth means and we can respond to them sacking a Young Wolf makes me think we're gonna be fine here. Wasn't it better to draw first and maybe Solitude the 2 flyers? I'm a little worried if I draw 7 that my opponent's going to be able to kill me with the Grist Ultimate plus Yawgmoth, but maybe not the most likely. So they have a Chord of Calling. It's a shame Atraxa can't find none of the worst. It can find it. I'm like 99% sure. I know it doesn't say Tribal on the card, but Tribal is still a card type. My opponent grabs a second copy of Grist. Okay, so let's see if we can find Not of This World. That'd be awesome. We cannot. We also don't find another Goryo's Vengeance. I think I'm going to Solitude my own Griselbrand here. Why does it not say Tribal? Because they have, like, dumb rules for cards these days. No, it's not character limits. They're like, they don't want standard only cards to reference Tribal. I don't know. It doesn't really make a lot of sense to me. Because like Atraxa is like very clearly a card that like has a lot of implication in older formats, but whatever. We don't have to say the same things over and over again. I think I'm gonna start off with a Mending here. Although I'm unlikely to cast a Goryo's Vengeance this turn, even if I were to find one. Alright, let's just go ahead and Leyline Binding, Grist, and pass back. Why not Flash and Solitude? It doesn't work that way. The evoke trigger will resolve. The evoke trigger will resolve before you can target with Ephemerate. Even with Tribal listed, it would not have every card type. What card type would it be missing? Conspiracy? Okay, there's Goryo's Vengeance. Alright, we came here to get Atraxa back, so let's get Atraxa back. Not of This World. Solitude. Watery Grave. Shadow Prophecy. 1, 2, 3, 4. I chose creature, right? Yeah, it's done. Why do I feel like I'm missing a type? I think that's good. Alright, 5 cards. Notably, did not find another Ephemerate. Let me go ahead and attack here. Instant? I took Shadow Prophecy. So I can play a Teferi. Can play a Shadow Prophecy, let this go. Can play Indulgence. Draw 2, look for a Ephemerate, that seems fine. No, but another Goryo's should do the trick as well. Let's discard here. Going through most of her deck. What a weird game. Drew another Chord. Yeah, we used 2 Ephemerates already, so there's still 2 more in the deck. Wasn't it better to play Mending instead of Indulgence? I guess it was, yeah. It's kind of not that relevant. The card types are Artifact, Conspiracy, Creature, Dungeon, Enchantment, Instant Land, Phenomenon, Plane, Planeswalker, Scheme, Conspiracy, Tribal, Vanguard. Sure. But I mean, Atraxa can't reveal, you know, the other 4, right? Teamer Hellraiser with Neoform to try for a Toxic 2 lost in the sauce. Maybe. It's just, you're missing pieces more than anything. But, you know, you could maybe play a Neoform Hooting Man, a Teamer Neoform Hooting Mandrels deck with those pieces. But there's just, you know, the idea needs more. I would say just say that the idea needs more work than you're just lost in the sauce, if that makes sense. All right, Griselbrand. Can we find another Ephemerate? We can't. The last two Ephemerates stuck in the bottom 14. I guess we just draw again, I suppose. Maybe it was best to get rid of the bird. I think it's okay, just like let them chump block also. Okay, Ephemerate here. Don't think we need anything else done. Alright. Only 7 cards in our do you have to put up to? Yeah, so you don't have to put the cards in your hand with the Atraxa, I think, thankfully. Discard, discard, discard. Discard, discard, discard. I want to keep the Knot of this World for another Grist. It still says Dark Souls for you. It just refresh. It's yeah. It's the title's updated. Should there be an Eldrazi in the main board? Nope. Nope, nope. Oh, sorry, the target isn't on the stack here. First time casting Knot of this World. Not sure why they're attacking here. Gonna block. By Splice Vintage in the Footsteps every game. Most important line in the deck. Alright, they're done the board. Let's just kill them. Awesome. Okay. So against Yawgmoth, their main graveyard hate is going to be Endurance, and so Teferi, Time Raveler, and Grief are my main 2 answers for Endurance. I think that this is a fine matchup to cut the Knot of this World. I think that if we're bringing in all these 3-drops, Shadow Prophecies getting trimmed, and then your sideboard is basically all like anti graveyard hate for the most part. I don't think that you need to be bringing in Prismatic Ending against Yawgmoth because it's like a solid card against Yawgmoth. You have some other removal against the creatures if you need to buy time, but I think just kind of maintaining your combos and your pieces is much more important. I'm gonna click submit. Well, honestly, not that far away from a good hand. Where we have this hand is 3 exile-based removal spells against Yawgmoth. Is really nuts if we draw Ephemerate. We're on the draw. We have Atraxa to loot away. I don't hate it. I think I'm gonna keep. I think it's somewhat borderline. But my opponent's also on a mulligan, so like the fact that I have 3 interactive spells is kind of nice. Crockett, 12 months, thank you. That's a good draw. Might have a turn 2 Grist. Just another Hierarch. Plus 2 drop, presumably. So why did they shock in this Overgrown Tomb? I'm not sure. I'm just gonna hold up my my mana here. Yeah, that's true. I can actually get Watery Grave here pretty easily because of the Yavimaya. Veil? Sure, sure. I'm happy they have Veil in against me. It only stops Grieve. And then since I don't really need to binding anything, I can just, and I have domain because of the Yavimaya. Can go Indulgence here. A lot of lands. That is a very, very good draw, though. So I think I'm going to go on their upkeep. Solitude both their hierarchs. Atraxa pitch to Solitude count 2. I think that there's going to be a lot of games where like Solitude pitching to Atraxa is like really, really relevant. It's going to be easy to kind of forget how nice it is when you're like, you know, uncastable creature, you know, your redundant uncastable creature just, you know, can be used in this way. Would have sucked to need Indatha Triome from there. Well, yeah, thankfully we don't need it because of the Yavimaya, right? Erotic Burrito, 5 months, thank you. Glad you're liking the stream. Is Atraxa a good pitching card for Force Elementals? Yeah, of course. Like it's like particularly nice because like, you know, sorry, I was stuttering a bit. It's particularly nice because like a lot of times this exact situation will happen where you have Atraxa in the yard. You usually only need one in the yard, and you need like, you know, the other one that's in your hand isn't doing anything for a really long time, maybe not doing anything ever, and so the fact that you can pitch extra copies is a really, really big deal, and it pitches to all of your pitch cards too. So it pitches to your forces, your griefs, your solitudes, which is also a big deal. May just be a game Solitude wins this too. The Atraxa slips really in Black Red Legacy Reanimator. So I think the Griselbrand may be better than Atraxa in Legacy. I think time will tell. I haven't like looked super closely at the list because, you know, I'm a modern player these days. But I think that, you know, especially like if the life totals matter. If the life totals matter, I could definitely see many situations where Atraxa would be better than Griselbrand. We also have enough lands to hardcast Atraxa if we draw one at this point. So I could Solitude the bird. I think at this point I'd probably rather Solitude the young wolf. I think I'll just go ahead and do that now on my turn so that any Court of Calling, any Eldritch Evolution is a bit worse. I still have a Leyline Binding in hand to kill a Yawgmoth, and a Yawgmoth would not be too scary on this board. You don't seemingly have a Yawgmoth. Could have an Endurance. Gonna get a big hit in here. TMO6, 13 months, thank you. I think Legacy wants a single Atraxa 2 and 2. I think that's likely, sure. Atraxa's got implication in every single Magic format, though, which is pretty cool. Well, take the freaking spells, huh? Sometimes spells are easy. Just, yeah, you take the spells. Wow, they have nothing. Burgie, Burning Creek could be viable in Breach combo decks. I mean, sure, it could be. Yeah, you need more pieces than that, and like you need that, like somehow that has to be better somehow than like other reasonable pieces. You know what I mean? Like in what situation is that going to be better than any of the other like Breach shells, right? How's Atraxa felt? I mean, it's our first match, but I think that Atraxa is a little bit better than Griselbrand, which is very good, right? Being in this deck, a little bit better than the best creature that, you know, you could cheat out with Goryos for the longest time is exciting. And it's also like, you know, Griselbrand still gets to be in the deck, and it's exciting that you get to play both. It's exciting that you have 6 good targets. I think that's a really good number to be at. In the past, you had to play like Jinga Taxis instead, which stink. It's pretty nifty. Okay, I can get Swamp if I want to cast Indulgence. I messed up. I had Triumph Swamp earlier. Yeah, no, that was the first time I ever cast it. You think X card's better than Y? Yeah. I do. Pretty in favor of X over Y. I think Spiritual Solitude and Grief makes it more than slightly better than Gristle Daddy. I mean, that's part of the reason why it's slightly better. Like it pitching makes it slightly better. Its overall effect, like Vigilance and like the card selection for no life, also slightly better. But my main point is, like, when you reanimate Griselbrand versus reanimate Atraxa, I think you're gonna win. I think you're gonna win 9 times out of 10 with Griselbrand. You're gonna win like 9.5 times out of 10 maybe with Atraxa in situations where your life was too low for Griselbrand to win. Which is, you know, and then in addition, it's like she's easier to card cast, and it's, you know, Atraxa is easier to Yawgmoth again. It is the Yawgmoth time slot, and you know she's easier to hard cast. She does pitch, but it's not that, you know, crazy of an upgrade. You know what I mean? This is not like an Oko or an Uro level upgrade. Atraxa, yeah, I'm not sure what Atraxa's pronouns are. I think it's a she. I don't know. Okay. So let's go Indulgence main phase here. Get a Swamp this time for surezies. Then I might find Grief and pitch Grief. We'll see. That being said, I do think I'm interested in trying to slow my opponent down. I'm going to Solitude the wall. Dominant one. That's pretty good. Pretty accurate. Lore friendly. But against Atraxa pre-release. Yeah, I played one match of Sealed for an RCQ and got Atraxa'd, and then that was it. Eldritch Evo. They're gonna get Endurance. Probably getting Endurance here, which is kind of fine. Oh, do they have Yavimaya again? This is the second time I've had an opponent have Yavimaya. So I just have a full domain. It's fun to get to 7 mana, I'll be able to limit this so hard. Yeah, so like I guess I don't really know that because I've only played one match. I don't know how like aggressive the format is overall. I was playing like a slower like Sultai deck, and so my opponent had time. So they cast on turn 7 game 1, they cast on turn 7 game 2, and then I countered it, and then they reanimated it the next turn, and they told me they top decked the reanimation spell. And then that was it for me. Alright, deck tech for Ageless. Let me go ahead and just take this turn real quick. I think we're casting the Grief this turn to try to stop them from yogging me. Rakdos Hellraiser, cool, because I've been working on something like very similar to this. I can chord for 3, which is not 4. Looks very similar to what I have, although... Oh, this year I'm playing 8 fetch lands. I almost feel like the main deck is like almost like... Oh, no, I was playing... I think I was playing Fable of the Mirrorbreaker over Dothy Voidwalker. It was like the only thing I was really doing differently here. I think you have to play Fable for Hellraiser to be enabled. And then I had the Voidwalkers in the sideboard, and I think you can cut the Hearses pretty easily for that. Maybe cut the Necromancias, you know, Explosives. Although I think I like Path of Peril over Explosives with Hellraiser. I think that might be a positive change. I'm gonna trade here. But yeah, Path of Peril over... Wait, when did they attack with Endurance? But yeah, Path of Peril over Explosives I think makes a lot of sense. And like Voidwalkers over the Hearses and Necromancia is probably where I'd be. Or maybe you don't need to be playing Hold on, let me take this turn. I think I should go Mending first. Should go Mending first, because I don't want to Shadow Prophecy into a creature that I can't Ephemerate here. Perfect. So discard. Discard. I could just tap this for a green. Atraxa time. 10 cards looking for an Ephemerate. They'll probably chump block this with Endurance. Okay, Not of This World. Ephemerate. Leyline Binding. Grief. Polluted Delta. Goryos? Yeah, Goryos. Choose enchantment or instant. I thought I chose it. I thought I chose enchantment. Don't choose this. Oh, sorry. I chose. I need to choose Ephemerate for instance. Okay, this is enough. So 5 cards, and then we get to Ephemerate and do it again. Yeah, I really like the Not of the World tech. I'm pretty happy to have found this. But I will be very likely. Why do we play Shadow Prophecy? If I cast Shadow Prophecy, I can't Ephemerate whatever I Goryos this turn. So I'm high rolling with the Mending first, and if I miss, I'll cast Shadow Prophecy and set up for next turn. So yeah, I will likely play something similar to this, but likely playtest off stream first. Okay, let's choose Griselbrand, Goryos for sure. Okay, they're done. That's a Teferi. It's Teferi sorcery. Okay, last time bring in Teferi because we mostly just care about their endurances. Cut the Not of This World and 2 Shadow Prophecies. Yeah, no battles have been printed yet. It's kind of a teaser card. Yeah, Tribal is still considered a card type. I know it's not on Atraxa, but it can and has now twice found Not of This World. I think that it's going to be pretty common that if you're playing an Atraxa deck in Modern, or like maybe it's just specifically this one, that exactly one copy of Not of This World will be good. Maybe one main, one side. But you're like you're not too upset to draw 1 in your hand. Drawing 2 in your hand can be kind of gross. No, yeah. So the thing about this matchup is like you still have like 8 removal spells with the Solitudes and Bindings, and you are like a very linear combo deck. And like I don't think that you are able to really dilute your synergies by bringing in medium 1-for-1s like Prismatic Ending. So we're bringing in Teferi because Teferi is one of our 8 anti-endurance cards. So this is important to understand. Solitude is anti-rip, anti-Leyline of the Void. Teferi is anti-counterspells, anti-endurance. Grief is anti-counterspells, anti-endurance. And you still what I also like about this deck is like just you have so many like scam hands that are just like super good in these kind of matchups. 1 Bitter Blossom. Have we? Yeah, we've actually spliced Goryos onto Footsteps every game so far. It's been crazy. If I draw a black card, I'll grieve. Okay, no black card. That's okay. This hand's really, really good. Yeah, you have like what I really like about this version is you have a lot of tools for every possible hate card. Let's just Binding. Well, if I'm Binding now, I guess I'm kind of soft to Grist. Okay, we'll just hold up Binding / Solitude Ephemerate. Really getting to test that Yawgmoth matchup today, huh? No Cottage, not in this version. I think that I was kind of toying with builds, of course, for a while, and you can play the Witch's Cottage Aether Mage's Touch tech if you want to. Let's just go ahead and go Binding, Wall of Roots, bounce Young Wolf. I don't want my opponent to be able to cord for 3, but cording for 2 here is pretty acceptable as well. And saving Solitude Ephemerate seems nice, although I guess this was maybe my white card. But getting the Teferi in play to stop Endurance is also, again, like I've mentioned, a pretty important dynamic in this matchup. Not sure if I want Domain or if I want Black Mana, so I'm going to wait on this fetch land. Any more souls later today? We'll see. I think I might have energy for like just like one and done attempt later today. Because we had such a good first run, and then I feel like there was like a combination of like tilt and fatigue that was like cascading after that. So I think like, you know, this like the first runs have been like the most promising, so kind of focusing more on that I think has merit, you know. You get Stringer guys? This is totally fine. They got Scoos. That's also totally fine. Could go Grief, pitch Atraxa, or Grief, pitch Grief, Ephemerate. I think we're probably at the point where hardcast Grief into hardcast Solitude is probably where we want to be. They do have the endurance, but the Teferi shutting that down pretty well. I guess it's true. I guess I need to take Eldritch Evolution though, because if I take one of their creatures, then their ooze beats my Grief in combat. Where did the first one end this morning? So no, we died at the glitch, the banister railway glitch, where my knowledge is yet again incomplete. I was of the opinion, or of the impression rather, that if you are as long as you're walking instead of running, you're fine, and you are not going to get killed by the weird geometry, the bad coding, the glitch. But I was wrong, and we died to like the little bit of fall damage. And I asked Dino about it, and he was very, very nice. It was very nice of him to take some time out of his stream, of course. And he told me that, you know, just to beat that, all you have to do is just heal ahead of time, which makes sense, because I was keeping the red tearstone ring state so I could fight the knights if needed, but that never really comes up, honestly, fighting the knights. It was a really like frustrating hit though, but we'll you know, we know about it going forward. yeah, not real life, the Dark Souls run. Draw step Ephemerate Grave. It's like, it's just so awesome to get to totally wreck these endurances here. Like, you know, my opponent had the double endurance hand, and they're like fist pumping, super excited against the Reanimator deck, but what I always love about this shell is you really have a lot of answers to hate cards. You have a lot of like really efficient tools against hate cards. So you can't pitch endurance in response to Ephemerate, but you can hardcast. I don't understand how that's counted as a hit. Any death is a hit. That is how it goes. You know, that is unfortunately how the rules work. I know it's bullshit, but you know, that is what it is. Is this deck good to Atraxa or Elementals? Well, like most good decks, it's a combination of having all good cards. Yeah, I know Atraxas are crazy expensive. I don't even know if I could buy them in time. I don't have Domain here. I think if I had Domain, I don't have any blue mana. Let's just go ahead and go to 6. I think stands a bit better. Put back the Grief. When do the forces come in? Creativity and like other spell-based combo decks, but like mostly creativity and like potentially control. The scam hands feel much better than the maybe I could turn through my hands in my experience. I don't think that's an inaccurate statement. I think that's a big strength of this deck, is that in the early game you have Leyline Binding and Solitude and Grief to interact with your opponent and buy you time to set up your combo, and all of these cards can also answer some hate cards as well, which is nice. But with a very good draw over there. And we're on the draw as well, which is a bummer. Only 3 cards in their hand. Let's go ahead and get Indatha Triome. That's a nice pickup, for sure. Yeah, I guess what we should probably do is plan on Leyline Binding a Swift Spear, Solitude pitch Mending a Swift Spear, and then we can use Shadow Prophecy to set up for Goryo's the following turn. Is Prowess the new burn against greedy metas? I mean, Prowess is just a really, really good deck, one of the best decks in Modern. And burn is fine, but like, you know, Prowess is awesome. Prowess is like quietly one of the best decks in Modern that, you know, still very surprising to me. Has a relatively low play rate for how good it is. Do you think 3-mana Teferi would be good in the Shark Typhoon Hellraiser deck? I wouldn't play it over the 3-drops I'm currently playing. But you could play it over Fable. You could play it over Fable, and see how that is. But I don't think I at the moment would recommend it. I want to wait and see if my opponent uses a mutagenic growth, so I'm not gonna just immediately use my removal. Weird Prowess or blue out the white splash. Definitely splash white. Definitely splash white. I don't recommend Prismatic Ending in the main. I really dislike it. It's okay. Everybody has their own opinions, but I don't like Prismatic Ending in the main. I think that your biggest, like the biggest things you want to be splashing white for is like an answer to Sanctifier and Vec, and like to a lesser extent Murktide, more so for Sanctifier. But like I think that I've been playing Change the Rocks because it answers both of those cards, and I've been really liking that. But again, in my opinion, the main thing that you want is an answer to those cards. You're not like just super interested in main deck ending as like a good removal spell. But yeah, definitely splash white. Dude, we were on the draw here. My opponent's had an awesome hand, double Swift Spear. We might not win, but this has been a good start for sure. I think that my recommended Prowess list is in the Stream Decker, although I would likely change. Like I've been liking 4 Breaches in Prowess. I think 4 Breach is good. I think like 4 Breach, 4 Iteration, 4 Manamorphose is way better than any number of light up the stage, but I digress. I think I'll main phase this just in case I end up griefing here. I think that's worth it. Like if I mill over Griselbrand and find a black card, I'll grief. Although not much was found here, unfortunately. Think Breach is on his way to getting banned? Not really. Not in anytime soon. Wizards, again, mostly does things at random. We'll, you know, not really expecting any card to be banned anytime soon. Mardu plus Bant Triumphs will be the same as your configuration. Yes. I want a blue-white. I want a black-white land and a blue-white land plus domain. Do you think that Intatio would be worse than Sprite Dragon? Yeah, and Sprite Dragon is so much better with Breach. It's crazy. Sprite Dragon is like combo kill with Breach. Storming Entity is lose the game with Breach. I think blue-white control is good. I think blue-white's fine. I mean, at least it's hard to imagine that it's terrible. I haven't played it in a while, and I have a hard time imagining it's like much worse than the last time I played it because not too much has changed. Why Magus over Moon in your prowess list? You get to dodge Beseiju, and you know you're an aggro deck. You can attack for 2. And I really only bring it in against Titan and Tron, which I think makes that the more relevant dynamic. Well, I suppose I don't have enough resources to not cast this Teferi. It's gonna be hard to be burned out here, but it could happen. Could maybe have drawn a card looking for a white card. I'm not sure. They have enough like summoning sick creatures that I think plussing Teferi is fine. Can you Goryo's a Grist? I think so, yeah. Speaking of Storming Entity, I mean, I think if they had a burn spell, it would have been cast. So let's just go and take this hit. I really want to just get 2 basics and Solitude the dragon. But then I'm dead to Lava Dart or Lightning Bolts, which kind of stinks. They shock in Steam Vents. What? That's bad. Hopefully it's just like a second Sprite Dragon. That would make sense. Ah. What's my favorite tier 1 deck to play? The only good deck, Murktide. Darksteel Relic and 8-White. We considered it. I wouldn't recommend it. Yeah, I don't know. I think like, you know, how are you adding in Soul plus Relic 2? It's like way too many pieces, I think. You could try it. Then I go 6-0 to reset my turn playing blue white. I mean, I went 6-2. Started 6-0. I mean, Murktide is just the only deck I'm interested in playing in ever. Just kidding. I don't know. It's been a while since I played like tier 1 decks, to be honest. Because I just am a content creator first, to be honest. Everything blurs together. Pull from Eternity on Atraxa sounds like cool narrow tech. I mean, how are you getting? Oh, so pitch Atraxa to pitch Atraxa to Grief for Solitude. Pull from Eternity into the graveyard. I'm kind of into it. I was messing around with Gyruda yesterday, and like, I was having a fever dream that you could pull from Eternity Garuda into the yard from the command zone, but obviously you can't play those two cards together, and you can't do it anyways. Good Sickening Shoal. Don't get lost in the sauce with Arcanes. You will like almost never ever splice anything onto Arcane in any game of Modern ever. There are like some exceptions, mostly just a ritual onto a ritual, but splice is like the least relevant mechanic. It just is not. It's just not real. You know what I mean? All right, let's plus so that if they draw a burn spell like a lightning bolt, they have to like main phase it, and I'm not going to be like Shadow Prophecy die. Okay, you go Goryo's Garuda. I consider Goryo's Garuda. Atraxa's 7, which kind of stinks. Griselbrand's not 7. We'll think about it some more. All right, come on, Shadow Prophecy. First one, didn't find anything. We have 6 good guys. Just dump in the yard right here. Missed. So I go down to 3, take Solitude, take Ephemerate. The problem is I want Leyline Binding as an answer to... I want this Leyline Binding in my hand. Take Mending. Huh. Yeah, I guess taking Mending is actually really nice here, since this is going to let me... So I can go down to... Fetch, go down to 2, Mending up to 3, Flashback Mending. That's probably fine. Can't cast it right now, which kind of stinks. I guess I could... Oh, no, I can't. Snap the bounce. Ooh, finally. We'll find a land off of Atraxa. Famous last words. The difference between MTGO and Arena. The biggest difference is that you can play older formats, like the one I'm playing right now. I'm playing Modern, which is my favorite format. Don't not even let me do it. There's also like, you know, there's also different economy, different tournament structure, but that's the biggest difference and the main reason why I continue to play this. So they're going to have some combination of Flusterstorm and maybe like Torbon's Script. Probably more Flusterstorms than anything. Oh, sorry, I meant to cut the Knot of the World, not the Binding. I think we're sideboarding the same way we did against Yawgmoth. Abzan Triome does let... I guess either Triome? No, just Abzan lets me play Binding on turn 2, so I guess we can keep. We also have Solitude. Have not heard cast Atraxa, no. We're up against 2 Yawgmoths into Prowess here. We try some Elder Storm decks on stream. I have an Elder Storm brew I'm working on. I hope to have it ready by tomorrow. I think there's a good chance we play more of this tomorrow, though, and also like a League of Elishnorn. I'm taking Friday off because I don't want to co-stream the Pro Tour. And then Saturday I'm playing a paper tournament. I may do like a soul stream sometime. I may do nothing. We'll see. We'll see. Kind of a tangent, I guess. LA takes down Titan. Well, I think it's, you know, something tells me a lot of Titan opponents are going to be ready for the turn 5. Yeah, this is the Pioneer Pro Tour. It's the first Pro Tour back. Very exciting. Definitely have a lot of FOMO. There's a lot of people I'd love to be able to see, but it was just like right for me to not go this time. Obviously not invited to the Pro Tour itself, but I wanted to go to the tournament, but there's like a lot of things I think that made it better for me to pass on this one, maybe go to the next one. Definitely going to Dallas. Am I playing a paper on Saturday? I'm not sure. I think so. I'm mostly considering Prowess and Sacrifice, and I guess I might play this deck. The problem is I don't want to spend like $200 on Atraxa. Although Esther did just get hired, so we're dinks again. Pro Tour is back. Yes, it's back this Friday. Very exciting. Went on stream Pro Tour watch party. I don't think I'd be that good at it or that interested in it, mostly. I know it's like, I know I'm a content creator, I'm a streamer, I'm the e-boy, I'm the YouTuber. I have to, come on guys to our Pro Tour watch party. I can't believe it, Reed. Did you see that top deck by Reed? I just can't, you know what I mean? I just can't do it. I love all these guys. I'm gonna be watching. I'm gonna have a good time watching. Well, this is what a Pro Tour watch party with me would be actually like. Wow. Pioneer, huh? Mono green against Rakdos. Scrolling Twitter on the other monitor. It's just for like 10 hours. I can't do it. I just can't do it. There are a lot of people that can do it. I'm happy for those people. I'm just not one of those people that can do it, you know what I mean? Let's get to Teferi plus, I think. Yeah, I think Teferi plus is fine. If they want to devote 5 damage to killing Teferi, that's also okay. Oh, do you 8 months? Thank you. I mean, it's the nice way possible. I'm sure most of us are here for that. Actually, exactly. That's just not me. You know what I mean? It's just not me. Like, I don't think that I'm not the driest streamer ever. I like to think I do a good job entertaining, but I just can't force it. You know, I just don't have that. I just don't have that in me. We get a sarcastic 5-minute YouTube video of fake highlights. Maybe. I would have to only do it on people that, like, I'm friends with, so it doesn't seem like I'm making fun of the players, you know? But it could be kind of fun. But I'll be, like, tuning in to, like, yeah, Todd and Evan did watch parties. I'll be lurking. I'll be, like, writing an article and, you know, working. Oh, playing tournaments, too. Alright, yeah, I'm definitely down to trade Teferi for 7 damage in 2 cards in a land, or a land in a card and the damage. And then to play around Flusterstorm, I'm going to just go ahead and main phase Shadow Prophecy, I think. Drew both of these this game. It's just a local tournament, local RCQ. I still have both Mendings in the yard here. What if they were all of Mingu? Yeah, Mingu's not gonna. I don't know why Mingu's not going. I thought he was invited. Oh yeah, that clip. I don't even want to look at that clip. The mood swing was so crazy on that one. He was playmats when playing paper. If so, with graphics. I have a lot of playmats I like. Like I have a lot of playmats. I even like sold a ton of them, and I still have a lot of them. I had to sell my Magic 20th edition or 25th anniversary Pro Tour playmat that I got at the tournament. I had to sell it because I was hard on cash. I might want to buy another one at some point, but I have a Chris Rush signed Black Lotus playmat I use sometimes. I have a illustrated playmat from a friend of mine who drew my favorite forest on the mat from my friend Matthew, which is really cool. There's a SCG Regionals playmat I really like. It's like the girl in the trees, the dagger with the werewolves. I like the colors on that one a lot. I like the this I have this Opt playmat. This one here. I have that one as a playmat. I like that one a lot. Kofoot, thank you for the 2 months. Thank you. Okay, let's go ahead and Mending. Likely gonna wait a turn on the Goryos. We'll see. I think that most Prowess aren't playing a lot of Graveyard Hate, and if they play like Torment Script, something I can do is I can go next turn Footsteps, target Griselbrand, respond to Torment Script, Goryos it. Dylan with the gifted something, thank you. Although they might just main phase crack it, and I'd be pretty behind. Oh yeah, are we splicing? No. Of course not. Of course not. Do you know Goryo's lore? Of course I know Goryo's lore. Somebody killed Goryo for having really loud footsteps. It was his mother, and he was upstairs playing Valorant late at night when he was supposed to be sleeping. So his mother, a famous necromancer, killed him and then brought him back to life. And then he got his vengeance by sending her to a retirement home when she was old. And that's what's depicted on this card. And that's what's him being killed for playing Valorant late at night is depicted here. Goryo is a people, not a person. You're wrong, actually. I hate to use the W word, but that's not true. Goryo is a person. This is Goryo, and then this spirit here is also Goryo. Footsteps of the Goryo. That I just can't. You're just wrong, Todd. I don't know who told you that, but you're just wrong. All right, 3060. 30. All right, let's grief on turn 1. Got a trophy every single day, huh? Trophy the last 2 days. This is a power deck. Well, we haven't lost a game yet. What's the bad matchup? I don't know. I haven't lost a single game. Trying to think like what I really hated. Oh, Mill's bad, of course. But this is a pretty good start. We have the Emrakul though. We're probably not that bad against them. Gets like all 3 cards with grief. And a lot of the mill decks are like not main decking the surgical and stuff at the moment either, which makes the mill matchup not as bad too. Drew a land for turn, which is good for me. Win the first game seems like a buy. I mean, if we win the first game, then being able to... We'll likely be able to win one of the next two because we have the Emrakul, but... that was a good draw for my opponent. I'm shocking here, so if my opponent mills over a Mending, I can flashback Mending. Goryo's Vengeance works like Corp Dance with an Emrakul? It does, yeah. Like pretty late. Yeah, there was maintenance this morning, so we did like 3 hours of Dark Souls, and I'm not sure how long we're going today. But we'll go for an amount of time for sure. So I'm gonna play my Swamp here so that my opponent Field of Ruins, I can cast Solitude. And seeing a second basic, they might be like thirsty to field, you know. Fractured Sanity though. Milled over an Atraxa for me. That's, you know, kind of actively good. Is Subtlety considered the worst pitch elemental? Yeah, I would say that it is considered that. I'm trying to think how important it is that I... Yeah, I guess I don't need to do anything else here. Dude, explanation of what Goryo's fun. I thought it was obvious, Todd. I'm sorry. I was just teasing you. I have no idea about the lore. Milled over 3 of my Goryo's Vengeances, which kind of stinks. Things I could play Path to Exile. Just watched your Hellraiser video. Path to Exile is nearly unplayable in Modern. There are some corner cases I'd consider registering it, but mostly, almost never in the main deck, and certainly not in this deck when you have 4 Solitude, 4 Binding. Although, I can't tell if... I think that surely most people who are asking me about Path to Exile are trolling, and if so, you know, good beats. But I'm happy to answer questions in earnest. Yeah, I think I'm just gonna prioritize getting double Solitude down. Like that we have Not of This World to counter a Drown on the creature. But again, y'all do not want to cast Path to Exile. You think you want to, and then you'll remember just that card actually has a huge downside. It's a 2-for-1 in your opponent's favor. I think it's like an okay card in like Hammer Time sideboard. I think it's like pretty okay in like the Demi-Lich deck sideboard because it needs to be an instant to flashback with Lich and you can kind of play a controlling game plan. Too bad I can't Not of This World counter Field of Ruin. Should I have main phase Shadow Prophecy? I guess I should have. I'm gonna second main phase it, but I definitely should have main phased. And Prowess Path is not that bad. It's not that bad, no, but it's not as good as Change the Rocks or like On the Nice, but mostly Change the Rocks. It's actually kind of nice that my domain is only 3, funny enough. Splashing Path and Red Green Asmo. I'm like not interested at all. I don't know, but again, I can't tell what's a troll and what's like serious suggestion. But like typically, if you're splashing cards, like you're splashing like a good card that like adds to your game plan and not Path to Exile. Yeah, I'm looking for my last Goryo so that I can end it. It's not like I'm really playing around Archive Trap because they have enough mana to just hard cast. Could have taken Atraxa to pitch. Cast Grief. Wait, is the oh, the last one is pitched. Oh, I didn't realize. Okay. No, well, that's not great. Did you have a trap? Odawara. Okay. And drown. Surgical. Still lethal in 2 turns. Can I special binding in my mono white? I've done it and liked it. I think that, like, I've been kind of thinking of like a mono white brought back deck with Elishanor, and I've started to again brew with Elishanor. That's not the only shell, but mono white brought back deck with Elishanor. I would be playing binding, but be mono white or maybe splash. You could be blue white Emeria with Elishanor and brought back and Muldrifter. Probably would splash for Muldrifter at least. And maybe also play, and then I've also been thinking about like a Heartless Summoning build with Elishanor. All right, GG, or game 1 GG. They got so flooded that game. It's crazy. Emrakul in every deck, chat. Emrakul, 1 Emrakul for 1 every deck. Is it a deck? It's actually kind of funny in this deck because you can Goryos it too. I definitely want the Teferi. I think that the looting effects are really not that good since they're going to be milling your card in the yard a lot of the time. I think you cut all the Shadow Prophecies potentially as well. Can play maybe like the full play set of forces. How are we doing on blue cards? Pretty good, right? 16, yeah, that's plenty. 62. How's not this roll? But it's been good. We've put in our hand with the Atraxa twice. We've cast it 1 time. I think the first copy is good in the main deck. Can Anviltron cut the sideboard Torpor Orb and add a Shuffle Eldrazi for mill? Yeah, you can. Seems fine. Down binding. I think with them being on 4 Jace, I want all the bindings. It's also like good mana value for Tasha's. Kinda hate this hand. Let's mulligan. Alright, 5. Every time we mulligan, we put a card back in our library. Yeah, definitely nice to be able to stream and play some matches in the time slot I don't usually. Always nice that people who can't usually catch the stream can. New Jace is very good in mill. Very good in mill. And it is just a planeswalker, but it's a a damn good one. Damn good one. Feels like it's bigger. I think it's the same. I don't know if this has been like this the whole time. Okay, the milled Griselbrand into yard for me. Not a really big problem at all if they just like surgical it right now. With 4 Goryos, do you ever bring in an Emrakul in a non-mill matchup? I haven't really considered it. The thing is, like, for the most part, it's not even a play you can do until turn 4, which kind of stinks. Have not seriously considered it, but I think that you could potentially bring it in against Titan and Tron. I think we're supposed to cast this. My hand's pretty shitty. I think they definitely have a surgical. Alright, we got 10 tap. Awesome. Tracks an 8th Mage's Touch shell. Yeah, I think that... So I had 8th Mage's Touch in my draft for a long time, and that's kind of the reason why it's taken me so long to play this deck, is that I was a little bit stuck. And I had... I was playing the 8th Mage's Touch version for a long time, and... The problem was with 8th Mage's Touch, you need to play more lands, and your mana base is worse because you're playing the Cottage package. And I think that the deck, just in general, does improve a lot with playing just like 6 reanimation spells instead of 8, and getting more card types, playing less lands. Just a lot of moving pieces in the deck, of course. Can we brew Atraxa, Marvel, and Pioneer? The issue with Marvel and Pioneer is not... the issue with Marvel and Pioneer is not the lack of good things to cheat and play. You know, you have Emrakul, you have Ulamog, but it's the presence of Karn being really popular mostly, in my opinion. Might get this drowned, that'd be okay. Yeah, the energy cards also are pretty underpowered. Jace for only 3 mana. Pretty good. They must have another drown, right? I don't know what kind of mess I have. I bought it from Micro Center like 2 years ago. It has a G on it. It's a gamer mouse because it's glowing. It wasn't very expensive. Yeah, New Jace is pretty good. New Jace is pretty good. Oh. Alright, well. May have to settle this in game 3. We'll see. We still have the Emrakul in the deck. Play much Pioneer. I haven't played Pioneer. I don't think I've played a single game of Pioneer since Atlanta. Maybe I played like one League of Trickery or something. It has been a format for sure. I don't know. Hopefully the Pro Tour is sweet. We'll see. Big Kitty, 5 months ago, thank you. Is that a Not of the World as a one-up? Yeah, it's a tribal for Atraxa. Fate Stitcher's Mesmeric Orb. I mean, I didn't play a ton of that deck, but my win rate with it was pretty high. I don't know exactly if much would have changed since then. Oh, they get to draw 3. I guess I wasn't supposed to flashback the Mending because of the draw 3 here, huh? Something about Mill lately, I've been like definitely enjoying playing against it a lot less. Haven't historically minded that much. Because now it's really good. Maybe. It also maybe be like... This will typically be the thing when people are playing with new decks, new cards, and people tend to play slower. Yeah, but maybe it's just, you know, that it is better. Although it's been good for a while. Definitely has been good for a while. Anvil deck or Mesmeric one? I mean, I probably like the Anvil deck one more. I don't know which is better necessarily. But I will continue to be playing an Emrakul in my sideboard in every single deck for the time being, as I am actively expecting to play against Mill like once a league, at least. Let's wait. Well, the problem with waiting a turn is if I mill over an Emrakul, and like they're also like definitely gonna drown the Hardcast Grief. Okay, let's not actually wait. I think we go after Atraxa. What Gaia's Blessing be better? So one issue with Gaia's Blessing, if you draw it, you can't discard the hand size. Oh fuck! I tapped wrong. I do this all the time. This is one of like the mistakes I make the most often, is that I assume this stupid Triome just taps for all my colors. I always just assume this Triome taps for the colors I need. And I just will just almost all, I do this so often, I just tap a Shockland instead of a Triome. I do this, you know, so way too often. It also is true, like when my opponents are playing slow, not that there's any problem with it, but I tend to like lose focus a bit easier. Let's try to find a blue card for Force here. And no such luck. Do you consider mill a control deck? Not exactly. I don't know. I think you could qualify it as a control deck, but I think it may be probably not how I would categorize it. That was a blue card? What was a blue card? I didn't draw a blue card off Mending, did I? What am I missing? Mod trolling. I can't tell when Horsuit is trolling lately. It's been a lot of trolling. No, we can't hardcast it because I messed this up already, but the Triome doesn't tap for blue. That Triome doesn't tap for blue, at least. I mistapped. Yeah, certainly been an interesting match. They're milling me for 12 here. Did we target Griselbrand because they only have one in the yard here? We're splicing. I've yet to figure out why we would ever splice anything in any situation. I'm mostly kidding, but no, we're not splicing. So I think if my opponent's Surgicals, I probably like Goryo's my Atraxa in response. And then try to find a blue card. We'll do this also. I guess maybe hardcast Force is better because I can untap in Goryos. Probably has two things. I'm just kind of like, to some extent antsy to get some pressure on my opponent without the Emrakul. I've played a lot of this deck. I think Jace is like mostly worse than the 2-mana looting effects. Just so hard to untap with it. But you can maybe play Jace plus Tyvar plus Priest of Felrights together. All right, I'm gonna concede. I think I'm too far behind on cards. It's to be on the play for game 3 though. Yeah, I just need opposite that. I must have the thermostat too. Be right back. Okay. On the play. With a acceptable hand. Wasn't that a situation where Spice was going to keep a copy in hand? No, they're just going to counter it, and I just don't get to like react to the counter. Just like really mana inefficient to Splice. Okay, opponent's on a multi 6. I thought you keep a Splice card in hand. Yeah, but again, it's like my line is way better against one counter spell, which is about all I could beat. You know what I mean? But like the first one's like definitely getting countered no matter what, or almost definitely getting countered. So like there's just like no reason to just tap the extra mana, is what I'm saying. All right, I think I'm just gonna go ahead and binding main phase. Are you settled on Atraxa being better than Griselbrand? In this deck, yeah, I think that Atraxa is like almost definitely just better than Griselbrand. But like they're different. They do different things, but in general, yes, that is my current opinion. Could Grief Ephemerate. I think I'd rather just hold mana up here, Mending end of turn. With so many pitch elementals that Atraxa is good with, is Pull from Eternity worth a Solitude. Someone mentioned that earlier. I think that is a very interesting tech. It also works with the Griselbrand if you pitch it to Grief. One issue is it's pretty bad card disadvantage. You know what I mean? But it's not Entomb. It's definitely not Entomb, but it's kind of a cute idea for sure. Alright, let me just hardcast Grief. That lets me keep Pitch Force up, I suppose. Next turn I can maybe go Teferi plus Ephemerate, we'll see. If they play Jace, I have to force Jace. I'm not going to force a Surgical. I don't think I could right now. Pulls use an old Narset cannon. Yeah, I've seen it there. I think I have to force this. This also wrecks my Griselbrand going down the line. If they have a second drown, good beats. It just stops my Griselbrand plan, and it just stops all my plans, you know. You play Pioneer and all. I've played a lot of Pioneer on stream. I'm almost exclusively Modern right now, but you know, play Pioneer sometimes. Just kind of go through phases, really. I think I just put these back, just so I can hardcast Grief Solitude, get some pressure. Alright, hardcast the Grief before we play Goryos, I suppose. Fractured Sanity in response. Looking for a drown, I imagine. Can you play Karuk as a companion? Nope. You have Ephemerate, Goryo's Vengeance, Faithful Mending. Extirpate, Surgical, and Snaring Bridge. Well... Huh. Maybe I'm supposed to take one of the graveyard hate spells, but they have redundancy there, and I feel like I'm just going to be able to attack with Grief and Solitude a lot of the time to win here. Yeah, Karuga's not like Luris. It cares about all spells. Okay, Surgically the Mending. That's okay. Would even say I'm happy about that. We draw every race. Yeah, and the race, like, with an Emrakul being in the deck, the races should be, like, relatively easy to win. How's this roll been? It's been okay. I think it's good. I think the first copy is good in the main deck. That's at least my working theory. Is that the first copy is worth playing, the second copy is not. Right now, at least. Deck Jeskai Artificer, Thopter Sword. Let's go. Are we going to see a Pyre of Heroes in here? No, not that I recommend it. I'm just seeing a couple of, as far as, like, Artificer Tribal goes. Most just using Cavern Souls. Eric with the 5-pack. Thank you. Got gifted stuff from Eric. Make sure to thank him. Hope you're doing well. Ooh. Okay, so let's go. Oh no. If I cast Teferi, my opponent is just going to extirpate in response. I guess that's fine. I can't respond to that with the Goryos though. And then it also stops them from being able to extirpate Emrakul at least. Okay, my first impression is that your curve is likely too high. I think that your curve is likely too high. I think that having room for Teferi and for Engineer and for Mystic and for Urza. Maybe it's okay. You know, I've tried to build like this kind of shell before, Goblin Engineer, Sentinel, Stoneforge Mystic. I usually get like really, I get pretty stuck on this one, to be honest. We could try to figure it out, but I do want to note that I've worked a lot on the shell and been stuck. So one thing that I'll do sometimes is I'll play Recommission in the shell over Urza. And what's cool about Recommission is that it works really well with the Goblin Engineer engine. If you're like missing a combo piece, you can interesting. If you're missing a combo piece, you get to tutor it up, and if your engineer dies, you can recommission it back into play. And it also works well with the Dragon Engine if you're putting Dragon Engine in your yard pretty aggressively. And that package of like recommission for Dragon Engine lowers the curve and also gives you kind of like the similar degree of like late game inevitability as Urza. And honestly, like I've played a decent amount of Urza decks lately, and it just doesn't quite have the same pep in its step that it used to, for lack of a better phrase. Urza is just kind of not... I haven't been feeling it. I haven't been feeling the card Urza very much. As on a very like surface level. So that's a direction I would recommend going in. Otherwise, like this draft does kind of look very similar to what I had in the past. I will say that if you're playing Force Sagas, if you play Recommission, I probably just wouldn't bother with Cavern. I think it probably hurts your mana more than it helps you in your Urza Saga, Thopter Foundry, Teferi, Metallic Rebuke, Portable Whole deck. In addition, I would play Flusterstorm over Dovin's Veto because it's much easier to. Footsteps with Solid is Rights worth considering. I think without Mark Grave, you don't want Rights as much. It's also like Footsteps is like much better than Rights. Also, just like, you know, less mana. I can mulligan this. Versus no. Oh yeah, the pairing system has been a little bit different lately. Or maybe it's been like that for a while. Might keep. Yeah, we have cast Not of This World once. We revealed it to Atraxa twice. Probably getting Hallowed Fountain, right? No, I don't want to get Hallowed Fountain because I don't want to get basic Swamp to cast Mendings. I'd rather get Godless Shrine Island if possible. This is League, yeah. We're playing for a 5-0 right now against Scam. Scam, horrible matchup, by the way. Like, nightmare matchup, kind of. That being said, our draw is pretty good against them, and I think what we're going to do is end up solituding the Ragavan, pitching a Mending, and then Ephemerate take the Fable, and then we'll both be top decking, but I'll have a Grief in play, and they'll have lands, and I won't have lands. Nice to, you know, just like Dante Voidwalker into Blood Moon. Nice to like have a chance against that, you know, playing a strategy like this. If my opponent like casts Thoughtseize, I'll cast the Mending. But I think that that's not worth 2 life. I think that that's not like the chance of my opponent top decking exactly Thoughtseize is not relevant enough for me to shock in the Fountain here, because that's the only situation where I'd cast it, I think. There's a Swamp Mystery card. That's a draw. So, could be good to cast the Mending, because like right now all I care about is finding an Atraxa or a Griselbrand and putting it in the graveyard, and Mending can do that here. Could be good to like wait a turn, but they have so many top decks that like really wreck me, Grief, Voidwalker, Blood Moon, that maybe I'm more interested in casting it now. And I think I've talked myself into just casting it now, just trying to mill over one of my really relevant cards. Okay, I'm just gonna play this tapped. But we can set up for a Mending Flashback next turn. Yeah, I think casting it made sense there. High upside in the bad matchup too, to some extent. Scam is one of your worst matchups. You know, they're main decking Voidwalker, they're main decking Blood Moon. Ragavan is good against you. Grief is really good against you. I would say this is a scarier matchup. They have a lot of graveyard hate post board, but they're getting super flooded. Their hand is Swamp Mystery card, and Teferi was a nice draw. So they probably have a removal spell if they're pausing here, right? Now worth 2 life to accelerate potential reanimated threat. I thought it was kind of nice to wait a turn. But maybe shocking to do it for the same reasons was more relevant. Yeah, I don't know. Because like once you're up to 3 mana, like being able to like keep a Shadow Prophecy in the hand of the spot would be kind of nice. Keep it Teferi in the hand would be kind of nice. A 2 mana, you don't really have that option. Oh, castle down to 4. Okay. 3 cards in hand. Down to 1. Let's draw a card. Like Ephemerate just like wins the game. There's like a few cards that are pretty good here. I'm gonna main phase this, which is worse against discard, but it's way better if I draw like a grief to pitch here. Miss lethal? Nope, I did not miss lethal. Promise. You can't Goryo's Vengeance a non-legendary creature, if that's what you're suggesting I do. Okay, this card, Swamp Dothy Voidwalker. Dash Ragavan, kill Teferi. So Binding on Spyro wins if my opponent doesn't have bolts, which is probably worth going for. No real reason to fetch here, right? Alright, what a game. Thank you, Scam, for letting the Reanimator deck beat Voidwalker into Blood Moon. No real other way that ever happens. Okay, still a scary matchup. They're going to be bringing in Hearse. They probably have Hidetsugu, which is less concerning. They might have Leyline, Teferi, in addition to Binding as answer to that. I think I want like exactly one copy of Force of Negation on the draw. I think that I want to trim on Grief. Pending seems good. You're too scared of Ragavan, I think. Pending answering a Voidwalker is nice though, but I'm not sure. You could play some number, but if it's just for Ragavan, I'm not that worried. We still have 8 answers for Voidwalker plus Grief plus Teferi. But maybe the first copy of Pending is better than the first copy of Force. I could buy that. Maybe on the draw, something like this. Yeah, it's just not that good at answering Blood Moon. You have to have 2 basics, but it can answer Blood Moon. Maybe I could be underrating it. But Ending could be better than I think, actually. It answers Hearse too. Okay, never mind. I just kind of retract the whole statement, honestly, thinking about it a bit more. I trim my Griselbrand also. I retract the whole statement. Pending actually seems really important. I guess the small again. Guess let's keep. Opponents kept 6 as well. This is like the tension between like Leyline Binding in this matchup, where it's like you really want to fetch basics, but you know we also like need to be able to cast our Binding. Okay, one awkward thing is I can't fetch basic planes next turn and cast a Binding. So do I want to have a swamp, or do I guess I want to have a swamp over a... Oh, I just have to have a swamp, so we'll get the Raugrin Triome. And then we're just committed to getting rid of this, so let's just do this now. The trim Bindings. Well, I think Binding just like answering all... Binding answering everything is really nice, but you could maybe. What are they shocking for? Undying effect? Has to be Undying effect. So to play around that, we should Binding main phase so they can't like sack Voidwalker, Undying it. Could be getting Turok, could be getting Grief, could be getting Mooned. We can, you know, like just... I guess we're just looking at the top 2 cards, actually, here. Just Sign in Blood. We see a Breach this league. We play against Prowess, they had Breach. What's your basic? 1 of each Esper basic. Okay, so we can try to set up for discard Griselbrand hand size Goryos. So we're taking 6 down to 6. Griselbrand in combat, take 4, gain 7. Up to 10. Playing Fountain Ruiner Life. When I played Fountain, I didn't have. What could I have done instead of play the Fountain? Because I drew the Marsh Flats the turn after the Blood Moon came down, right? Not play land, huh? Yeah. Yeah, that's probably better. And then the problem is, I don't think we can pay life, right? Notably, Atraxa here would... I could, you know, draw the cards. Dig 10 cards deep out of Plains, you know? But we're taking 6, gaining 7, which means I can't pay any life. Didn't you get exactly Griselbrand Goryos off the proxy? I got Grief Mending. I got neither of those cards. Moon also notably is like much easier to play against on the play. Go to game 3. I think on the play the endings are like also like a decent amount worse. Wait, where are my endings? Why are they way over here? Expels. They'll trim 1, play like at least 1 more Teferi. Alright. Do this. I have a lot of 3-drops still. I guess I don't want to go super overboard, right? Dude, we only have 1 Griselbrand in the deck. Ah. Griselbrand was just an Atraxa. Because we can go swamp Plains here. It's also, this hand is actually... damn it. I was about to say this hand is nice against Dothy Voidwalker because we can get an Atraxa into play on turn 2 on the play. But they just have Leyline. Leyline is so tough. Although the extra Teferi is nice against Leyline. 7-card Leyline hand. Gonna be scary. Oh, dang it. Still trying to play around Blood Moon. Trying to think if I even cast Faithful Mending here. I think maybe holding it. Oh, they have both of these, though. Okay, I think I'm gonna have the attitude that, like, I'm just, like, not that likely to beat Leyline Voidwalker into Blood Moon. I'm gonna try to... I need to, like, Shadow Prophecy. It's, like, Leyline Binding Solitude or something like that. And to do that, I need to see the most cards possible. So I'm going to get my Triome here. And get Domain for Leyline Binding. Thank you, Goggles. Yeah, it's cool to see people able to tune in for the first time, because I'm not usually live this late. Okay, let's cast a Shadow Prophecy. Grief, Pitch Turok, scary, scary. So we're going to Solitude the Voidwalker right now. And then I will take this Teferi, but it's just getting griefed. Ending plus Teferi, it's definitely takes Solitude. I got like 1000% Solitude here. I kind of feel like my opponent's gonna like Blood Moon me too, which is bad. But I do have the planes, so I can draw like land plus binding. And if they have an empty board here, we're gonna be okay. If they check Atraxa, they would only do that if they have an Undying effect here. I think, or like maybe Blood Moon. No, even then. Should not this Ruby sideboard? No, I think it's really good game one, or like nice to have access to game one. This is kind of, I know we cited out like every single game, but I think like it's just like a nice generic protection to spell to have game one, and then post board when your deck is more taxed and you need to have more answers for hate, it is it's okay to cut too. You have more cards that remove Leyline than reanimate targets. I guess that's like fair, but it's also like Teferi draws me a card and is like a proactive planeswalker, and if they take my answer to Leyline, the Atraxa is just chilling. I don't know. I don't think it makes a lot of sense, but I think taking Atraxa is correct. Yeah, I mean, I hope that they agree with you. We'll see. Magus of the Moon. Okay, so I have more answers to that because I have Solitude. And immediately rip it. Grinding 3 months, thank you. When am I solituding this? Main phase, maybe? No, because I'm gonna wait. So what can I do? I can take a hit here, and then if they play another creature, I can Solitude stack the trigger so this gets exiled first. And then I can cast Indulgence, look for Ephemerate, and try to Ephemerate the Solitude. I think that is like high enough upside to take 2 damage here. Alright. Tough. If they have no pressure, though, we could still win. A little late on the Ephemerate. It's okay. Ephemerate means if I draw a Solitude or Grief, like I have a play. They have 2 cards in their hands. Okay, I can... Binding is live. I'll be answering that Blood Moon over the Leyline because it unlocks my Prophecy. Dude, if we can beat, like, Leyline into Voidwalker, into Grief, into Moon... That would be so nasty. Let's unlock their castle this turn. A small price to pay. We could even actually Atraxa like right now if we milled over an Atraxa and we hit a Goryo's Vengeance. Oh no, sorry, what am I talking about? There's a Leyline still in play. Duh. I forgot about the Leyline. Could be a hard cast Atraxa game. We're only 2 lands away. I just totally forgot that there's just so much going on. Yeah, obviously cannot. Oh, we have to Leyline the Ragavan. Death Touch for players. We could Leyline this. I'm not going to. We could. Ugh, gross. Good hit for them. Maybe they're not playing it. Okay, they missequenced a little bit here. I think, at least. They're definitely going to have a good play next turn, I think. If we could top deck... Oh, we would have top decked a looting spell, too. Because of Ragavan. But we could have, you know, like, lootinged into Footsteps, Atraxa, Ephemerate. Alright, not that easy. Let me lead on, I think... Oh, no! Okay, just get that, play that tapped. I thought I saw my island in the deck. I don't know when the island got exiled, but it's exiled. Oops. I have no fetchables left, so hardcast Atraxa. I saw Ion from Shadow Prophecy. I see. Yeah, I have 4 fetchables in the yard. So I think that I have no way to hardcast Atraxa, unfortunately. So you might just have to draw a looting effect. They could Urborg. That's true, yeah. Urborg would be clutch. This is probably gonna be bad. Take the Atraxa, please. Probably not going to. Teferi back to Leyline to put in Moon and play for fetch. That's a line. I don't. That's a line for sure. Can't do it this game, probably. They think we're hardcasting next turn. I mean, they have to take footsteps. I'll just footsteps the Atraxa. Yeah, but they might think I could hardcast the Atraxa, right? How many looting effects do I still have? Not that many. 3? Did I trim any? I don't think I did. Yeah. Solitude would be a good draw if they keep leaving with Ephemerate, of course. Well, if I can hardcast the tracks, I could probably find a Solitude to beat the Menace on Grief. They might discard a tracks if they have Terminate. I think that's probably like never correct. I don't know. Okay, will they hit me or they kill Teferi? That's also a question. They do go for me, which I think makes more sense. Okay, if they have an extra black card, they can just take my Ephemerate here, which would turn off Solitude as a really good top deck. It would still be a really good top deck, but like not like win the game top deck. They took Atraxa, and we drew Goryo's Vengeance. I repeat, they took Atraxa, and we drew Goryo's Vengeance. What just in a blink of an eye? In a blink of an eye, the game goes from unwinnable to unlosable. Let's fucking go. I mean, obviously they thought I could hardcast it, but they were wrong. Oh my goodness. Okay. Holy shit. Creature, sorcery. So I think I'd take Ephemerate, right? Yeah, take Ephemerate. Creature, sorcery, instant, land. Like insanely better than Griselbrand here, by the way. For like every reason. Solitude my creature. I'm gonna gain 7. I'm gonna Ephemerate it. I'm gonna draw more cards. It's gonna be awesome. Oh, I should have tapped one of these probably. I guess it doesn't really matter. What happened? My opponent thought I didn't have any fetchables left. My opponent thought I might have, and they were scared of me fetching Island, which they shouldn't have been because I don't know, whatever. Because there's an Island in the exile. But they're scared of me hardcasting Atraxa, so they discarded it to the Grief. Oh, dude, that was my Grief that they flipped off Ragavan. If they didn't flip my Grief off Ragavan and exile a dead card from the top of my library and discard Atraxa, thank you, Ragavan. Ragavan won us this game. Dude, Ragavan like literally won us this game. Ragavan is so bad. Okay, enchantment, instant, land. I guess we can discard Griselbrand to hand size. It's probably better than doing. I can't really do anything with Grief. Or it's probably, I would rather have the Ephemerate than like Grief Ephemerate here. Take Grief Prophecy? I don't think so. I think that I would rather do this. All right. Unreal. I made a couple big mistakes that league, but easy 5-0. That's better. All fetches are dead. All fetches are dead there. That was... I think in my entire 10 plus years of playing Magic, I don't think I've ever, in such a short amount of time, gone from thinking I have 0 chance to win to I have 0 chance to lose. I don't think in my entire 10 plus years, just the dream scenario of like Ragavan hit Grief, hit my own Grief my Atraxa because they mistakenly think I can hardcast it into top deck Goryos. And, you know, that's what has to... But it's also crazy that we were able to beat Leyline of the Void into Voidwalker, into 2 Moons, plus like Grief, plus just not... Like, bangers every single turn of the whole game. Just, like, a banger every single turn, the entire game. That was ridiculous. That was actually ridiculous. I don't know what the new Kaito does. I can't remember. Oh, yeah, it's not very good. For Mirrodin.